Hi there, I'm Lt Col Kevin Basik from the Center for Character and Leadership Development at the United States Air Force Academy. And I'd like to take a few minutes to give you an overview of the key elements for our conceptual framework for developing leaders of character. If you're interested in more detail, future videos in this series will help unpack the individual elements that I'm going to touch on here. Now, let's acknowledge this up front. Yes, all models have limitations. All analogies eventually break down. But the key question is the model still useful? Is it grounded in theory and best practice? Does it advance our understanding and improve our approach? So for us, the answer to all of these questions is yes. In CCLD, this framework has been invaluable in creating a consistent language and mechanism for clarifying how and why we do what we do. We simply offer this to you as something that may significantly help guide and clarify your developmental effort. This framework I'm going to describe is the product of a year-long effort of a cross-mission partner team here at the Academy who brought together the best of character and leadership research, as well as best practice in industry, the military, and beyond. In addition, it supports the Academy's officer development system by intentionally focusing on and unpacking one of its identity domains, and specifically the identity of a leader of character. We knew that if we were to successfully develop leaders of character, we had to be crystal clear on its definition and describe the process in a way that could actually be useful in daily life. So let's start with the definition. We acknowledge that becoming a leader of character is a mountain with no top. It's a constant, unending pursuit. But it is a pursuit our graduates should be relentlessly engaged in. Now, we'll all fall off the horse, but this identity, this leader of character, should be without a doubt the horse that we are committed to being on. And our framework suggests that a leader of character has three fundamental characteristics. First, they live honorably, and that is, they consistently practice the virtues inherent in our core values in the Air Force. These virtues are desirable actions and habits like honesty and humility, respect, so on. Actions and habits that can be and should be practiced throughout our lives. Next, a leader of character is someone who lifts others to their best possible selves. We've all been around those individuals who just make those around him or her want to be better. They are leaders who build leaders. Of course, in order to lift up and inspire others to be better, that leader must also focus on becoming his or her own best possible self. Finally, leadership requires accomplishing the mission. But the leader character we strive to develop does not merely maintain performance in the unit or organization. The trajectory is always up, always better, always higher. So the third element of a leader of character is that they elevate performance. Not just maintain, but to make a difference and elevate performance toward a common and noble purpose. So if that's a target, we need to lay out a path or a series of touchstones to achieve it. Our framework starts with a fundamental belief about development, that the individual must own their development toward the identity that they pursue. Specifically, they must own their attitude and effort and the decisions they make. Those decisions, attitudes, and efforts that they bring to the process. They must own their duty as defined by the professional role they fill. They need to own the commitments they make to themselves and others, and their unique role in the developmental process. As leaders of character, not only will they be developing themselves, but they will be developing and supporting others. So in order for development to occur, there must be purposeful experiences that actually bring together the person developing and the person or organization supporting their development in a way that provides some degree of assessment, challenge, and support. These elements are also emphasized by our friends at the Center for Creative Leadership. This interactive dance, as we call it, requires both parties to engage in and contribute to the developmental experience in order to build competence, confidence, and commitment in the area of engagement. Development is not the other guy's job. You've got a role and you need to get on the court. That's engagement. Finally, we embrace the Aristotelian notion of building habits of ethical thoughts and actions through practice in the real world. Here we expand on the ethical decision-making model of James Rest and others to suggest that both ethical and leadership moments require the individual to first be aware that this is a testable moment for who you're trying to be. Then reason appropriately, considering biases and other perspectives, and really think about your thinking to reach a decision consistent with their leader of character identity. But we know there's often a significant gap between what people decide and what they actually do. So consistently crossing this decision-action gap, despite the pressures not to do so, is something we must all practice in order to build habits of honorable living. Again, we suggest that competence, confidence, and commitment are needed to push across this gap to act like and become a leader of character. So that's the framework. Again, in this video, I've simply offered a high-level introduction to the framework, but I hope it's given you some context for how we approach our noble endeavor of developing leaders of character. Thank you for taking the time to explore it with me.